Now the paint and the graphics and stuff on this car clearly wasn't the best, but it had been just all black, and I was going to bring it to a burnout contest with a very large payout, and I just wanted to do something to try and make the car stand out a little bit. And but that burnout contest got canceled, and I never brought it out again. So the lettering and stuff I don't really love. I actually do really like the lightning bolt, but I think I want to change the location of it, and there's also a lot of just body work that needs to be fixed on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and start taking some of this down. Well, that should show how wavy this dang thing is, and there's just going to be a whole lot more of that for a while. I'll check back in later. Well, I made a big mess on the ground, and I made a big mess of the car, but the lettering is gone, and I'm kind of committed to doing something now. I got both sides done. I was having a hard time getting the lettering off with what I was using, so I had to go to harder abrasives, and I had to keep going because my boy's getting a couple cars washed in here tomorrow, so I figured I might as well get the messiness done. There's quite a bit of body work to do underneath here that, I don't know, this thing's pretty trashy, and for the purpose of it I don't really care too much, but I do want to try and maybe knock some of these dents out so that there's no filler in here, maybe clean up a couple of the real bad spots, and but now I can kind of play with this graphic and see if I want to keep going with it. Or so one of the reasons in working on the quarter pails is I wanted to get all the bad Bondo and stuff off, because there's just bad rusting underneath, flaking off. So I wanted to show kind of what this is underneath and kind of show some of the bodywork modifications that are done. So these doors, as I mentioned, were off of a Malibu. This is out of an El Camino parts car, and what I did was I just bolted the door on the car. I marked roughly where it needed to be cut. I closed this into the door, closed the door shut, and tacked it into position. This whole pillar is made from scratch, as well as some of this framework. This is the original. This is all original. There's going to be Lexan in here at some point. You can see where the rear doors were welded shut. The previous owner, one of the previous owners, did most of this. You can see there's some rot and stuff underneath that needs to be addressed. There's a lot of dents. Someone did a very bad job filling in the door handles, and I'm going to just start knocking all of this out. I'm not going perfect with this car because it's a drift car, and I blow tires off on this thing and drive it recklessly, so we're not going to go crazy, but just want to kind of show that. Yeah, just nastiness. The roof itself, I'm going to grind up that. So this whole piece at one point was cut off. You can see I cut up and across here, and across the back, and I removed this whole entire rear window piece, and it was shortened because the roof is actually chopped. When I closed the doors, I realized that the angle of this is different. On the two-door cars, it's more sloped down. On the four doors, it was like this, and the roof was higher. So what I did was I put a relief cut here, and I cut a wedge shape out of here, and I put jack stands inside the car with a 2x4 across, and I put a ratchet strap in each corner, and I pulled the roof back until it was correct with the window glass. I mean, it's not perfect, but I don't know, got pretty lucky. So that's that, but I'm gonna grind up all this work and kind of clean some of this up a little bit just so it doesn't look so rough. I'm not going perfect with this car, but just kind of wanted to show some of this underneath stuff. And yeah, I'm gonna start knocking this out. Spent a little bit of time with a hammer and a block of wood, and I knocked some of these dents out way better than they were. I also got the rest of the Bondo out of the car. I found this big huge dent down here. I don't know if you can see it, but look at how thick the Bondo was on this thing. Holy shit. You can see the big mess that I made. And yeah, I knocked out some of the dents over here too. I'm going to end up cutting out this where the old door handle was and putting a new piece of metal in there, but it's quite a bit straighter already. So I'm just going to go ahead and get the rest of this paint stuff off and get it kind of down to bare, and then I can actually fix it. Since we're talking about banging out dents, I banged out the big ugly dents in the back of the trunk of this thing. It's a little slightly wavy up the top, but man, way better. Those dents have been in the car since I first got in. They always really kind of bothered me. Someone definitely kicked it in or something. But anyway, I did that. I also got my initial rough grinding done on all these roof seams and stuff. There's going to be a lot of work to kind of smooth them out, but even just doing this little bit looks so much better. Down there, nice and smooth. It almost looks factory. I gotta blend it in with some sort of a soft disc, but anyway. This cars, they all have a bunch of, like, I don't even know what this is, silver solder or lead or something, filler between the different panels. So I gotta get those out, and then I think I'm gonna end up having to make a bunch of filler panels to bridge the gaps where I worked on that, but I don't know, looks pretty decent so far, so I'm gonna keep on plucking away. And the other thing that I did is I cleaned up a ton of wiring out of this car. I'm gonna clean this up, but I wanted to show it before I clean it all up. You know how much stuff I took out of here, insulation. It's pretty amazing that there's so much left in there, but I shortened up all the wiring to the gauges and stuff, and I'm gonna mount all these better. This has just been kind of a temporary thing, but it's much neater than it had been. Down here is still a little bit messy, but it's again, I'm gonna remount some of this stuff, and way better than it was. Alright, so to fix these other spots, I'm just gonna start cutting and welding. I'm gonna do some relief cuts in some areas. This dent, I'm gonna slice it here, pull that one out. We're gonna cut out this whole section because there's just no way to get behind it. I'm gonna do a little relief cut here, fix that, and then we're gonna cut out this door handle and do a patch on the bottom. Way more metal work than I want to be doing to this car, but it is what it is. I also hammered out this whole edge here. Got a little more grinding to do, but at least I don't have to cut and weld that piece out. And I don't know, it's just very pitted and stuff. So I'm trying to do the minimalistic here to keep it somewhat decent looking. So let's get to it. Mark it out, cut it out, drop it out, you know? Now I gotta fill it in. I got my patch panel cut. I just gotta put a little bend radius in it, but first I gotta hammer out some of these dents, but should just fit right up in there, and hopefully it stays fairly straight and better than whatever I just took out. Just get it tacked up in there. Just bent this thing over the tailgate of the car. I got the metal prepped up. If you look, the radius is almost perfect, and this piece just sits on in there. So let's get starting on tacking it, I guess, right?
just in picture form. It's really easy for me to read. Directions. Directions. Now the reason this distributor is so awesome is that I have tuning capabilities with these springs and bushings. I can adjust both the timing curve, so basically when the timing changes and when it
Got this thing made up to fit.
and how many degrees I want that timing.
I like to pick a corner to start from.
Springs and bushings. So
Get nice and
some
flush.
research, and I've looked at lots of forums, and I've decided
Stick
the
it up in
combination
there.
of springs and bushings I'm going to use for this distributor. Now,
Make
here we
sure
have
it's
all
tight up
these
across the
different
top
graphs that
and
explain the potential timing curves and max
get a tack
timing
on it.
based off of the springs you use. So, what I would like to do is have a max of 23 degrees timing. I think that's safe. And I also like this timing curve because I think full boost is going to kick in around 3,000 RPM. So what I'm going to do is put one silver and one blue spring in, and I'm going to use the green bushing. Off comes the cap, so to the side, and then I can take this off as well. I also did drop the MSD off. There's a chance it doesn't work.
Welding direction is very important when you do this, but let's get a couple tacks up there to hold it.
This is incredibly nerve-wracking, by the way. And the bushing will pop out.
Pretty decent. We're going to have to go back and trim a couple sections where it's a little bit tight, but for the most part, it looks pretty good. I'm going to get a couple more tacks across the top where it sits nice.
If I can get this in, imagine what I could do in the bottom. Thank you. And the bushing is in. That was scary. I'm going to try not to just flank these springs across the shoulder. I'm definitely flanking this. One heavy center comes off. Looking good there. One blue spring. This is a blue spring. Boom. Fast and pop down. Check me out, dude. Now I'm gonna put this thing back together. Take the cap, set it aside for right now. We'll pop out this old distributor. Now comes the dizzy. Let's make sure the gears are the same. Eyeball gauge says perfect. I'm gonna count this. I've confirmed that the new distributor is exactly the old one as far as gear goes. So I'm gonna load this up with assembly lube and toss it in. This assembly lube is making cinnamon. It's delicious. I really want to eat some. And lube my assembly. Tastes like cinnamon.
Hopefully we can work this little bubble out to the end.
Hey. Josh, am I right?
I just customized and saved with this. What a great day. What an okay day.
CIS.
We're here.
Isn't it such a...
Find the killer.
Oh, I know how this movie ends. It's like a slice, like pink up spicy one. You know what I said? Yeah, they actually use it to make hot chocolate. Should we call 911 now? Or after we start hemorrhaging? For this eye. That's good stuff. We were definitely rich before. Which I used in a time to install the other day. And now we're getting these new plugs. 28,000 after a lot of plugs are in, so now I'm just putting the wires on. And last step before fire, we're gonna install the cooler. can't really see. We're not seeing any leaks. Definitely are going to need more coolant because of the bigger radiator. Okay, mental check. Coils in, tight, hooked up, SD box plugged in, hooked up. This little terminal for the starter wire is being a little dumb, so it might not start. Okay, guys, ready?
Oh, fit it up into position. It's just going to be a lot more of that on a lot more patch panels, but fits pretty decent. I gotta fix that gap, but that's gonna be a hammer and dolly. I can only do so much, and that fits up really good. Across here, I just gotta work on that seam a little bit. Kind of hate doing a full square like that, but it's gonna be the best thing to do here. So hopefully, can take my time welding it up and it comes out good. Holy moly! Get it? This is escalating a little quick here. Man, I really don't want to be doing this, but I went to cut this patch out and the old fuel filler was in there and it left this big hole. So I'm going to put a plate inside this to try and keep tire pieces and smoke and whatever from coming up through. And I'll do this outside piece. And I also cut out this door bottom piece here. So got a whole bunch of patches to make. This is the old filler piece. It's kind of heavy and bulky. So just cut out everything that I can. It's like 2 in the morning, but I just finished getting all the first set of patches installed in this car. Man, those ended up being pretty big. It's like I could have made a whole quarter panel from scratch or something. Anyway, they're all tacked up in here. I come in tomorrow and go real slow and weld them all into place. Pretty good fit up and stuff. And the car, if I can weld it and keep it straight, it should be quite a bit straighter down the side. I got the dents and stuff all pounded out of it. And like I said, not going crazy with this car, just trying to make it a little more presentable looking. Got this dent over here, pulled out, welded up. And got to make 2 more patches for the other side, weld them all in, and then we can get to doing the paint work. Just all these patches. I'll show you the other side. This took a lot of work to get this area kind of straight down the side of the car here where the old door handle was. Whoever did this before did a bad job. Did kind of a better job on the cutting this at an angle. That's the more proper way to do it. And then I got the patch down here. Not really pretty, but all of this is way, way better than it was. Kind of a rule of thumb when you're doing these patches, like these straight edges here, that's kind of a no-no. Like this should have really gone out like this. It's gonna be hard to keep the distortion out of that panel with a straight line like that, but if you notice, none of these are welded, so I'm hoping that what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna really take my time and I'm just gonna work, do a tack here, do a couple tacks here, a couple tacks here, go to the other side, do a couple tacks, so on and so forth until it's all done. And we're gonna hopefully put very little heat into these panels, keep them nice and straight. basically just a lot of this. A lot more times until it's all tacked up. I'll grind it up. I'm not going to show the whole process, but that's it. Let's try and keep this straight as possible. Well, I might as well change my name to Lincoln because I'm a welding machine. I've been going hard at these patch panels here. Not filming them all, but they're all welded in here. I got them to stay pretty straight. I mean, this car was really bad when I first got it, so all of this is much better. There are a couple little spots with some rust blow through that I'm gonna have to like fix up, but I got the bulk of it all done. This side really much straighter than it ever was. I got that welded in there. This one down here is all welded in, so just gotta turn myself into a grinder and grind it up. Now I'm basically just going to be doing this for forever. Someone once told me you can ruin a good metalworking project with bad grinding. So this takes just as much finesse as the welding aspect of it and the fitting aspect of it does. Same principles apply. You don't want to overheat or overwork an area, so I'm going to do a lot of grinding and keep it moving. Just like this. Forever. Yeah, a lot more of that. Hammer and dolly, kind of a lost art. This car kind of taught me this originally. Wasn't the best at it, but I think I'm getting the right results. It's a lot of work. I've done a lot of this on this car to kind of straighten it out way more than I anticipated. Still got more grinding to go, but starting to get really straight down the side of the car. This whole area used to be a big dip. I don't know if we can, best way to film this, but it's starting to look pretty good. Haven't even started that one. I have done a lot of hammering and dolling and a lot of grinding, and this thing is starting to look really good. I didn't plan on putting all this work into it. I don't know. It's coming out nice though. next order of business. This is just, all I did was just grind it. I haven't done a soft wheel stuff. It's just the hard wheel. I got a bunch of little spots to go up and touch up, but I like to split things up. Next thing I'm kind of jumping around and working on is fixing up this roof line. I don't know if you can see it, but it's got a big dip right about there. So a lot of this was all jagged and uncut and never finished. So it's like, if you look, it's the separate skins here. There's the inside piece and the outside piece, and there used to be pillars all over the place, and it's just kind of a mess. So I'm trimming out this little excess section. I'm gonna go back and weld the pieces together. This side, you can see I already cut up at the top there, and it's much straighter. The roof is the same thickness throughout now, and you know, it's never gonna be perfect, but it's pretty good. We're just trying to untrash it a little bit. Already balls deep in this thing. All I can do now is push harder. Let's sand down this roof. Stripper just makes fast work of that. Big part of the reason I'm doing this roof work is because I found this huge chunk of Bondo on this side, and I'm trying to get all the Bondo out of this car. This is giving me flashbacks to when I first got it, but we got almost all the mud out of this thing. All right, I got the seats out of this thing again, and I'm gonna weld up this section here. As you can see, I never fixed these gaps up, so there's a big space there between the outer and the inner skin, so I'm just gonna weld right along this seam, grind it all up. I'm probably gonna have to make a little patch panel for in here, and I think I wanna add a piece with a radius to match the door glass that's down in the door. gross. A lot more of that. Well, the whole seam. Well, that was certainly a lot more welding and hammering, but I can't believe how straight this car is starting to look. Gotta put a patch here, but this is so much nicer than it was. I really didn't plan on doing all this, but hey, gotta ride that snowball down the mountain sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Grind this all up tomorrow. So a few little patches to make, but it's kind of like to jump around a little bit, but this is all start in the right direction. Maybe like a damn show car after this. Get all the initial grinding done on this car with the hard wheel on the grinder, and I'm stepping it down to a smaller tool. Get them fine details, you know what I'm saying? Trying to keep Bondo off of this thing. It's gonna be a long night for me, the grinder, and the pancake compressor, but results are worth it, buddy. Smooth. Long way to go. Spent a bunch of time with a bunch of different sanding tools. Got the header panel sanded, fender sanded, hood sanded, the other fender sanded. I also got all this ground down pretty good. It's shocking how good this is coming out. I really wasn't planning this. Very happy with it though. Got all these ground down really good. Yeah, no filler needed here, buddy. Still got a lot of little patches to do. Just to kind of finish some things up, you know, fix a couple of rust spots up here, whatever, but it's moving right along. Looking forward to getting this thing down into some primer and paint, whatever else, so. Just gotta keep picking away at it. Like I said, I like to jump around a little bit, but getting most of the way there for our paint time. Getting pretty close to done doing patches on this thing. I had to do one here because there's a rot hole. Patched that, that's where the pillar used to be. Boogered some weld into that little spot. Yeah, you can kind of see what it looked like before I patched that spot over here. You can see where there's just tore out plug welds, and this side had a big hole of ripped metal. So I'm just gonna put a quick patch over this one, like that. Weld some stuff in there and should be pretty good. And the last patch is gonna be something in this section. And sanding more. All right, that's all patched up. I patched up these spots. Last little patch in there. This one here, just gotta grind it all up now. All right, the seams on the pillars of these cars from the factory are leaded, like up in there, down in there, up in there, there. So you can't really weld those very good. So I'm trying something new. I got some steel stick JB Weld, and we just gooped it up. I gotta sand it once it dries a little bit, but I think it filled up these seams. I'm sure you could probably see them in the video. They're ugly. Just trying to make it slightly better than it was. Again, not perfect, but I'm pretty happy about that, and I hope it kind of smooths it all out. I also did my one last patch panel for here, so I ended up cutting out the rust that was there, and I welded that in. A little bit of goop on there, and should be much better than it ever was. Just gotta let it dry up, and I can sand it. I also got the rest of the paint off of this quarter and this one here, and it's really about time to start rolling some product on here. The steel stick worked really well. It's like there's never anything there. Pretty good material to work with. I never used it before, but just hitting it with the DA, some 80 grit. The sanding, buddy. All right, let's give it one more walk around before we start wiping it down and getting some paint on this thing. Nothing's perfect on this. I didn't touch the doors. I'm not going to paint them yet. I'm just trying to get the fenders and the bare metal spots into primer. But man, this thing is so much straighter than it used to be. I definitely went a little overboard. I wasn't really planning on doing any of this, but it's, I don't know, looks pretty good. Too good for a race car. Too much work for a race car, but yeah, it should be pretty cool. I'm getting ready to get to go away for a work trip, so I'm just really kind of rushing to get some paint on this thing before I'm gone for the next month, you know, so let's get it wiped down and get the first coat on it. Wipe that down a little bit. Sure, I'm gonna try to have a little bit of fun doing it. I don't know. Might kind of a lot of work, honestly. White primer. I don't know how to use that cover. I'm gonna start on the roof. Just put the coat on. I'm gonna start in the middle, away from the edge, and start working it out. It's just to get a quick coat on it, so this one's not gonna be useful for all this. Open this next. A whole lot more of that. Well, I didn't bring enough paint, but I had exactly enough to do all the bare metal spots on the car, which is good enough, I guess. All the repaired spots are all covered. This thing looks pretty good, all things considered. I think it's a little bit straighter than it was before. Again, it's never going to be perfect because of what's on it, but I really like rolling the cars. It works really well. A lot of people probably think it's crazy, but cheap and effective. Just gonna let this dry and then come back and hit it with some more paint, but big improvement. Well, I did a whole lot more of that rolling, and here it is. It is super shiny, gloss black. I am not done. I'm going to work on this detail here, but it's all one color. This thing does not look great. I don't think it's warm enough in here, and probably not good enough prep and whatever else, but from a distance on a racetrack, this thing is going to look just right. Just kind of letting it cure now. It's going to take a while for this to all dry, and then I can start playing around with some graphics and stuff, but we're at least off to a good start on being done with this drawn out project. Things kind of dried off more, and I got it taped out to start painting the gold. What I'm going to do is gold in the center, and there's going to be 1 inch of white and then 1 inch of blue. Hopefully it all comes out good. Got this taped up more. I'm going to remove this middle section and start doing the colors there. Here it is with the tape removed. You can kind of see a little bit better idea what it's going to end up looking like. Hopefully it comes out cool. Blue is all done. I'm going to remask it, do the white. Got my last batch of tape on here. Leave this last little strip to do in the white. And the white's all on. Well, that's the finished product. It's good from far, far from good. Looks way better than it did. For under $200. Come on, you can't go wrong with that. I got some good practice in. I learned how to do some graphics, made some mistakes to learn from, and when this thing's out on the track sliding by you, it's gonna look pretty cool, I think. So go put some rustoleum roller on your car. I'll give you one last walk around real quick. Man, this thing looks fast. Electric. Don't really have any good vantage points around here because of everything else in the shop, but that's all right. Hopefully next time you see this thing, it'll just be shredding tires. Thanks for watching.